Okay, so what's up, guys? It's me, Brian. I'm back. It's my 2004 Infiniti G35, and we're gonna be talking about it, right? Okay, so G35s, right? They're pretty cool. They're pretty quick, not fast, quick, right? 280 horsepower, don't get too far, right? But it's still a pretty good amount of fun, right? And these cars are just really great. So as a platform, the G35 is a really good car to begin with, because they've lost a lot of the residual value because they're early 2000s sports coupes. So they've gone to the point where they've depreciated and now they're not worth very much, right? So they're pretty easy to get into. So G35s are right now, the market value tends to be around anywhere between, let's say, $8,000 will get you a pretty good one. $8 to $9,000 will get you a pretty good one. $10,000 will get you a really clean one with good low miles, right? And let's say $5,000 to $6,000 will get you one that's pretty used, but still, acceptable. So, for example, I got mine for $4,000, and it's really, really used. But hey, I paid $4,000 for it, so that's pretty good for this car. They're rear-wheel drive. They have the same powertrain as a Nissan 350Z of the year. So, for example, this is 2004, and it has what would have came in a 2004 350Z and a 2004 350Z, right? So the VQ35DE is what this comes with. Later G35s and later 350Zs came with the VQ35HR, which has a better head and revs a little higher, makes a little bit more power. But I suck, so I got the VQ35DE in my car, right? Okay, guys, so here we have the front end of the G35, where the engine is housed, right? So let me get that opened up for y'all. Okay, right here we got the latch on the left side of the steering wheel. Okay, so here we got the VQ35DE, right? The biggest way to tell the difference for anyone who doesn't know the difference is all other more modern VQs like VQ35HRs and the VQ37s, they all come with 2 intakes. I only have a single intake, so they'd have 1 intake. Well, they come with 2 throttle bodies and 2 intakes. I have 1 throttle body, which is hooked up right here to the right side of the engine. Right here's where the throttle body is, somewhere in there, and then obviously this is where my intake is. In VQ35HRs, you have another intake right here, and then you'd have another throttle body up here. So your whole head is arranged differently, and you could also rev more in VQ35HR. These cars make about 280 horsepower to the crank as advertised by Infiniti. They don't really make that same kind of power level after you get 180k miles on the car. You don't really make that level of power, right? I would assume right now, my guess is after 188k or 180k, my bad, the car maybe has 190 to the wheel, right? That's my guess. It's pretty low, but you kind of, as expected from such high level of wear on the engine, right? You're gonna always lose some power after that high mileage. So, okay, let's close this up. Okay, so here's the next thing I want to talk about on this car. So this is honestly my favorite part of the car, is these bad boys, the orange boys right here, the brakes. So these Brembo brakes, they create a lot of brake dust, right? But oh my god, they do a magic job at stopping this car. It's honestly my favorite part of the car, and I'm really glad that I got the bigger Brembos on the car, because these come with a non-Brembo option, and non-Brembos are the way to go, right? Because honestly, the stopping power and the heat dissipation that they offer over the non-Brembos is it's amazing, just what these can do, right? I've used them in strides on the street, nevertheless. But I have used them in strides, and they have saved my ass quite a number of times, right? And they really just help stop the car efficiently. Something else that this car is really good is I got Pirelli P0. Not P0s. Wait, are they P0s? I don't even know. I got really nice Pirelli P0 tires, right? They're 225 45s in the front, and I'm pretty sure they're 245 25s in the rear, so it's a staggered setup, right? Not square. And these tires are really, really good. The car likes to grip. I can launch the car from about 3,500 RPM, and it'll grip up, which is pretty good. It's a pretty hard launch on the car, right? So I can get off the line pretty quick with this tire setup. And also I got my 7-spoke wheels. They're pretty rough shape. The last owner he likes to touch the curb, right? The curbs were his friends, so it's pretty fucked up on the sides. This goes for all the wheels, not just the front right. But I also painted this pink stripe on one of the spokes. I did this so if we ever take a rolling shot to the car, it looks like it's going really fast, because the faster it goes, the more pink there is in the wheel. Right? If it's going slow, you should see the one spoke. If it's going really, really fucking fast, it's just a wall of pink. So it's like a good indicator of speed, like for anyone who's kind of looking at the car, right? And then I just like kind of painted that with like a spray can. It wasn't anything fancy, because I eventually plan on getting new wheels. So getting new wheels, I don't really care about these too much. Like I like them, I like the 7-spoke design, and I want to go with maybe some Advan GTs, some 5 spokes, right? But those are a lot of money, so I won't be for a while. So I was like, yeah, let me have some fun with these wheels, paint a spoke pink. So okay, so this is the interior of my G35. It's pretty comfortable in here. You got these base infinity seats. They're pretty torn up. They had a recall on a lot of the early cars, where they had like these metal like rods inside of the chairs that fuck them up. So the driver's seat has a kind of seat cover, because it's full of fucking holes. Right? My steering wheel's also seen better days. It's a bit worn in. I bought a new Momo steering wheel, but it's gonna take a bit to get here because it's on back order, right? But the interior's pretty all right. It's 2004, so dated, of course. That's to be expected of any 2004 car. It's kind of really hard to get a timeless design, especially when you're like a $30,000 sports coupe, right? So, got the 6-speed manual right here, right, with the Mishimoto shifter. Pretty nice, nicely weighted aluminum shifter. Thank you to my boy Noah, right, for hooking me up with this, right? Yes, I don't know. Interior is pretty, like, the quality is okay. The worst part about it is all the hard plastics that you'll see. So the dash, right, the dashes, you have like this kind of like leather thing, but like this area right here is plastic. This whole center console is made of hard plastic. All of it is, like, this whole area is made of plastic. And obviously that's to be expected. Early 2000s, a lot of cars had this plastic, even sports coupes such as this car, right? But you know, it's a lot of hard plastic around the interior. I don't really mind it though. It's not ugly looking, at least. It's pretty acceptable, right? This is this dash. I don't have a center screen or anything. I don't plan on doing one because honestly, I have a cassette player. Do you have a cassette player? No, you don't. All right, so it's cool, right? I got a cassette player, right? Yeah. It also has LED lights in the wheel wells. You really can't see them because it's a bit sunny and the car's off, so no LED lights, but they're not that bright. It's more for the night, kind of just seeing like the pedal box and stuff. Usually I don't advocate for sunroofs in sports cars because, well, we want to be lightweight and kind of fast as fuck boy, but honestly, it's very enjoyable having it, just bringing down the roof and opening it up and having the wind come in and shit. It's pretty nice, right? So I got this sunroof as well. Few things, this car also has really good like storage inside of the cabin. So we have I'm gonna say we have 3 cup holders just in here. We have a cup holder here, one in each door panel, but they can hold like more than one like water bottle. For example, we got one water bottle right here, and I could fit maybe 2 of them in each door. You also have this panel, like this little cubby right here, where you could fit about one pretty big cup in here. You could fill up like a large like Coke from McDonald's, so that's pretty big. Or like any large Coke from like anywhere, or Pepsi, whichever one you prefer. Coke's better though. Right? So yeah, like the storage in here is pretty good for water bottles and just bottles. You're pretty covered. You had this kind of storage panel up here, which I store my glasses for my passenger, and a McDonald's Happy Meal toy. Right. Next we have I like to call it my double glove box, because we got one right here where I usually have a towel in there, and then we have another one right here where I have important papers for important paper things if I ever get pulled over, right? Then obviously in here you have like you could put a bottle in the front, and then you could store stuff behind it because it kind of has a lot of space in there. So I use it for my controller for my LED lights inside the footwells. Next we have my little like box thing here. I forget what these are called, but in here I have portable charger, some like pens, charger, right? So storage in here is actually pretty nice. Like I don't feel like I'm limited in where I can put stuff, right? I have here, if I don't have any bottles here, I put my phone, I throw my wallet in here. Anything else I need to carry, I usually have somewhere to put it. If not, I have the back seats, which are pretty roomy, and that can take up a lot of stuff as well. All right, okay, so next, something that's really important on manual cars is the feeling of the clutch and the shifter. So the shifter has some pretty long throws, like noticeably long. You kind of have to just throw it into each gear, right? So it's not very short. It doesn't really bother me that much. I kind of wish it was a bit shorter, right? But it's definitely the shortest. It's definitely the longest like throw I've seen in any car that I've driven. So, and now the clutch on this car is very interesting, mostly due to its length. It's very long. You gotta really put your leg into it. It's not heavy, it's just there's a lot of length to it. So you push it, you get all the way in there, right? It bites at the bottom, and then you just ease off of it. And it's actually so long that when I clutch out, I like lift my foot off for a bit, and then I put it down and then just let go of it. Instead of like in most cars where you might just clutch and just like that, I have to like move my foot back and forth because of how long it is. So it's definitely a bit of a weird feeling to have such a long clutch, and it's definitely something you're gonna have to get used to, that you might not have in all like manual cars, especially if you've driven like just anything else. I've never driven anything that kind of has a feeling like that, of just long clutch, right? It's weird. And every time someone gets in it, even if they're very experienced, they'll mess up a shifter too. So expect the clutch to be very short like most other cars, and then after that they get used to it pretty quickly. It's not that strange. Okay, now we're going to talk about the trunk space of G35 coupes. So this goes for all G35 coupes, right? They don't have a lot of trunk space. So the trunks are very high, like really high, and they don't go in very far, right? So it's very difficult to fit things inside of the trunk, and also it has a very weird shape. So the entry is the kind of the biggest space you have inside of the trunk, right? Where when you start putting stuff more inside of it, kind of the top of the trunk, the ceiling of it kind of dips down. It gets low, so you can't fit a bunch of things in here. Like you're very limited in how much you can fit because you have these like dips in the ceiling around the speakers. So because of that, it's very strange the type of objects you can. Here we have some coolant, right? And this, for example, it's about as tall as the trunk, but it can't fit everywhere in the trunk. Like right here, it hits a dip. Over here, it hits a dip, and hits a dip everywhere, right? Because they're everywhere. It can't go all the way inside of the trunk. It could go just about halfway, and then the trunk kind of takes a dip in the ceiling, and now this is too tall. So it's really usable for every day. It doesn't really bother me. He'll fit most bags. He'll fit any duffel bag and such, right? But for road trips, this can definitely be a problem, right? To carry, it can only carry stuff for about just one person. If you're road tripping with someone else, you're gonna have to pack pretty lightly, because it really lacks that storage that you might need. Good thing it has the back seat, so you can store stuff back there, but it's still gonna be pretty tight on storage. Okay, and now we're gonna launch the car. So we're gonna bring it up to we'll bring it up to 2,500 RPM, and then. Alright, so I'm gonna launch the car. You're gonna get the outside view now, though. Launching the car.